Get ready to fight from within. You're about to go behind enemy lines on WNJC.
Roger, 3-2. Goliath copies all. Go ahead. Target is surrounded by multiple firms entering what appears to be a residential area. Requesting permission to engage. Over.
From the People's Republic of New York City, you're now going behind enemy lines with Gene Baradelli and Russ Gallo.
And you are now behind enemy lines. Hey there, how you doing, America? Gene Baradelli here with you. We got a blockbuster of a show for you tonight to kick things off, because this is a huge, with a Y, show. I'm bringing in a segment that we normally do at the end, and you know what? As Bill O'Reilly said, F it, let's do it live. Andre Walker, TownHall UK lobby correspondent, you are on the air with us. How are you doing, my brother from across the pond?
Gene, my name's Andre Walker, and let me tell you, we're going to do the first ever weekly political monologue live from Windsor in the Royal County of Berkshire, the heart of England, and of course, within our great, great United Kingdom. So the weekly monologue starts right now. I'm here because this was the week Windsor was graced with two queens. Our Britannic Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II, turned 90 years old and had an amazing birthday, organised by, in the words of the great film, We the People. Whereas your Queen, Obama the Last, turned up in Windsor to threaten Britain to stay in the European Union. You'll be pleased to learn that we the people did nothing to celebrate Queen Obama's arrival. But what did he, or indeed she, tell us? That Britain would be, quote, back of the queue to trade with America. Wow! Queen Obama, what a lovely birthday present from our longest ally and NATO friend, Uncle Barry. We love you almost as much as you hate freedom. But you are not America, and America is not you. Did you, Queen Obama, tell Ford, Hewlett-Packard, General Motors, Starbucks, Citibank, McDonald's, KFC, Abercrombie and Fitch, and all those other great American brands that we love, that your dogma means more to you than their business means to America? Did they, these companies, promise to pull out of the UK because you hate freedom? Well, we will see about that, but I think not. The worst thing about Obama's visit to the UK, of course, aside from the very real risk that he may return to America, and nobody wants that, was the massive chopper that was his massive chopper that damaged Our Lady's garden. I'm talking about how Obama demanded 12 helicopters be landed at Windsor Castle, but the Queen, Her Britannic Majesty, said no. Last time she took Obama's chopper, she described it as over the top. The friction burnt her lawn and she was not happy. Apparently, she had to re-turf the oldest bits of the castle. Ouch, that can't have been pleasant. But you know what? I have some sympathy for Queen Obama's position on the European Union. Well, in fact, I don't. I'm just setting up the next line. After all, why would any American colonist think that it's morally unacceptable for a country to be ruled by an undemocratic dictatorship in Europe? Oh, Obama. Nobody would ever think that, would they? Except for all the founding fathers, the entire American nation, and everybody who fought in the War of Independence. Don't worry about that. My countrymen were less forgiving of Queen Obama than I am, because what was trending on Twitter, I think, was very, very nasty to your lovely, great leader. I can't tell you on radio exactly what it was, but let's just say that it started with an F and it ended with off Obama. It was nastier than the dirty smell of Trump that's been horrifying Hollywood recently. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the first live political monologue from Britain. I'm delighted to have done it. And back to you, Gene, in the studio.
I had to mute myself. I was laughing so hard. Oh, man. I got nothing else to add. Oh, boy. Andre Walker, you're made for this, man, I'm telling you. But I do have to get serious for 1 second. Because you were actually granted, you were granted a press pass to go see the sideshow, really, right? You were there with the president and the prime minister, and you watched everybody ask those questions. And what was it like there?
Yeah, so there were a couple of events. So there were two principal events that I went to. So the first one was the press conference with President Obama and David Cameron. And that essentially was, so Obama had dropped the bombshell that he was campaigning for Britain to stay in the European Union. And he was obviously grilled by journalists at that event. But then also the second event, which I thought was really the cheaper of the two, were organised by the White House. Now, just to explain to you, Jane, that our civil service are independent, politically neutral. And there's some advantages and disadvantages to that. So the event at the Foreign Office was organised by the civil service. The TownHall event in Vincent Square, London, which I also went to, was organised by the press office of the White House. And that's a lot of celebrities, and what's his name, Benedict Cumberbatch, and all those sorts of people turned up. And really, it was a bit of a circus. I mean, I just think my whole experience of this Obama visit. Now, let me tell you, I was incredibly proud for both TownHall and Behind Enemy Lines to be their representative at these huge events with the president and the prime minister and the queen. But actually, I just think that my experience was that this president is a humiliation to your country and a country that I love. I mean, that was my experience.
You know what? I appreciate that you include Behind Enemy Lines and being included in that. Obviously, we have no business whatsoever at such an illustrious event. But it just goes to show you that, somehow we've scammed our way up to being friends with people like Andre Walker. And it's a pleasure to always work with you, pal. By the way, we didn't get the plugs in the live monologue. So visit Andre at townhall.com. Check him out on Twitter at Andre JP Walker. And sooner or later, we're going to coax him to write something here Behind Enemy Lines.
Yes,
but you know what, pal?
I apologize. I've been so slow in writing for you. I apologize. If I can get a plug in, Gene, my website, Andre Walker,
yes.
That's NDRE, walker.uk, has got so much hatred of Barack Obama on it. I mean, even your listeners might be appalled. Oh,
you know what? I accept that as a challenge. Let's send everybody over to www.andrewalker.uk, and you know what? Check it out. And we actually have it linked on our homepage at www.behindemylines.radio.us, and you can check it out there as well. It links right to it. Andre is the man. I don't know how I lucked into a friendship with Andre, but it's fantastic to have you on, pal. And it's great to have you on because we have such a huge show tonight. Coming on in a couple of minutes is retired U.S. Air Force Colonel Rob Maness, who is running for Senate from the great state of Louisiana. Then later on, we have interviews from syndicated radio show host and author SAM Sorbo, the beautiful wife of Kevin Sorbo, who's been on the show before. Of course, we know him from the Legends of Hercules and the Legendary Journeys and all the great movies, God's Not Dead, and all the movies that he does. She'll be coming on to talk about her latest book, They're Your Kids, and it's about homeschooling and the benefits for you and your family about that topic. Then we have James O'Keefe coming on to talk about his expose for Project Veritas, talking about voter fraud right here in the People's Republic of New York during the New York primary. You're going to love to hear what he has to say about that. And then later on, maybe the least known guest, but the one I look forward to the most, we have a gentleman by the name of Guy Short. a delegate for Obama, for Obama, wow, a delegate for Ted Cruz, who will be talking about his role on the RNC Rules Committee. But joining us right now on the line, it is a pleasure to welcome into the show Colonel Rob Maness. Is that you? Are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm here. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you on. You're on the line with Gene Baradelli and Andre Walker from TownHall magazine. Thanks for joining us tonight, sir. It is a pleasure to welcome you. Why don't you tell everybody who you are, where you're from? Let me tell you, I've been doing a little research and digging into your story, sir, and it is absolutely amazing.
Well, thanks a lot for having me on, guys. I appreciate it. I'm a retired Air Force colonel. I served for 32 and a half years in the United States Air Force and rose from the lowest enlisted rank to the rank of full colonel while attending college at night school, and was honored to get the opportunity to command at several levels in the Air Force, including at the bomber squadron commander level, where I took my airmen to war, and one of the greatest achievements I have in the Air Force is bringing all of them home every time that we had to go into combat. So I retired about 4 years ago and moved back here to Louisiana. I live in Madisonville, Louisiana with my wife, and we have one child left at home. We have a total of 5 kids. Our youngest is 11. He's a special needs child in 5th grade and doing great. I worked for a utility company for about 2 years and then saw that the folks that we were sending to Washington just aren't doing what we sent them to Washington to do, and that is to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States, defend this country, and make sure that everybody has the equality of opportunity to achieve their highest potential that they desire to achieve. So,
just
threw
like
my hat in the ring in 20.
Just like every other military man I know, you are seriously underselling yourself, sir. For those of you listening right now, you're listening to a bona fide hero. Colonel Maness led operations, including as a bomber squadron commander in Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Iraqi Freedom. Sir, you've traded in one battlefield for probably the dirtiest battlefield that I know of, and that's U.S. politics. So what made you decide to do that?
Well, our republic needs to be saved. I sacrificed 32 and a half years of my life for the republic. And then when I left the military, I saw that the republic that my family and I and hundreds of thousands, millions of other young Americans sacrificed for was being torn apart from the inside by the politicians, the political career class. So I want to save the republic. I want to lead the rebellion against the political elite in Washington, D.C. And I've spent 3 decades in the military learning leadership skills in the real world. I'm a commander that has had to give orders in combat and then have to live with the consequences of those orders that night and for the rest of my life. So it's very important to me that my grandsons inherit a United States of America that my dad would recognize and his dad would recognize and all of my ancestors would recognize, all the way back to the American Revolution, where we had an ancestor that my youngest son's named after as a private in the Continental Army. So not just my family, but millions of families have sacrificed for this effort, that this America, this idea that's represented by the Constitution of the United States and the first official American document, the Declaration of Independence. And by golly, the political careerists have failed us, and it's time to rebel and put them in their place and put American citizens in these positions of responsibility to give power back to the states and the people where it belongs.
Fantastic. Listen, we have Andre Walker from TownHall.com. He's their UK correspondent. He has a question for you about some foreign policy. So, Andre, go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, so obviously this has been an unusual broadcast for us at TownHall, at Behind Enemy Lines, in that I'm from Windsor today. Barack Obama came over to the United Kingdom and demanded that Britain remain in the European Union. Now, he did that very clearly because he wants Britain to be part of this anti-democratic thing that's going on in Europe. But how does that damage NATO? What is the impact on NATO of not having Britain in a strong